Hi guys. Sorry, hold on. Yeah, sorry, let me just get these out of the way. I did a thing, and this is why you need to have some impulse control when it comes to, your hobbies. I found a new roaster in my area, and I freaking love them. So I did a little shopping, as you can see here. However, we are going to focus on this one here, which we'll go into in a second. But guys, check out Aero Coffee Roasters. There's one in Westborough, Massachusetts. There might be more. I don't know, but I'm going to tell you right now, I've had their coffee already, and it is outstanding. As you can see, I went a little crazy. This is not cheap coffee because it is fresh roasted coffee and small batches. So this was expensive. You're probably looking at $100 to $120 for the coffee just here. So be careful with your hobbies and make sure you have some impulse control. All that being said, we will remove the ones I'm not going to be working with today and get to the first of my reviews. And this one here, Thailand Doi Pangkhon. Thailand Doi Pangkhon. Now this is a light roast, natural processed coffee from, again, Thailand. So how is it? What does it taste like? Why is it so expensive? All those questions and more. And let's talk a little bit about Aero Coffee Roasters coming up next. Yeah, guys, I have no impulse control when it comes to buying coffee. I found this with a lot of my hobbies and things. I tend to go full throttle into them. When I find something I like, I stick with it, which is good sometimes. I also get bored fast with things, so I've already moved on to different other roasters and stuff like that. I am ADHD when it comes to coffee. I don't know. Anyway, let's get back to the subject at hand. Aero Coffee Roasters. So when I started looking into getting a little bit more complexity in my coffee life, I did some research online, and people were talking about you're going to want to go to your local coffee roaster. Not going to lie, I had no idea where it was. So I did a little research on the old intertubes, and I found this place, Aero Coffee Roasters. Once I got there, I realized I'd been there before. I had gone in with an ex, and we had just gone in on a coffee date-ish type thing, and we got some coffee and some pastries and stuff and enjoyed it. So when I went back there, I was delighted to realize, hey, I've been here before. So I went in, looked at their coffee selection. This is not one of the first coffees I purchased there, by the way. And at the time, I walked up the counter, I bought a couple of them, and one of the nice things is with each purchase of one of these bags, they give you a free coffee. So not only do you get to have the coffee that you buy and bring it home, but you get a free cup of coffee as well, one of the fresh brewed coffees there. And they also let you sample the coffee, which is super cool. However, they usually only have 2 types of roast going at any given time. So you can sample one of the 2 roasts that they have. So it's not always going to line up that you get to try the ones that they have there for sale. They're going to be one of the ones they have for sale. Whether you pick those and go up to the counter and go, hey, before I buy this, can I sample it? That's the question. They might not have one as one of those 2. Anyway, definitely check them out. So Aero Coffee Roasters, this one out of Westborough. This is Thailand Doi Pangkhon. Bursting with tropical fruit, sweet with notes of dried mango and papaya, whole bean coffee, 12 ounces. Roast profile is light, and the process is natural. Now, 12 ounces. This did cost me $24, $2 an ounce, and we've discussed this in other podcasts. We've discussed. I'm not doing podcasts, guys. Sorry, coffee's starting to kick in. We've discussed this in other episodes. It costs money to get the very specific beans from the very specific regions to come over here. And then you have to pay the farmers a decent wage. These are usually all hand-picked by workers that they have to pay. They don't pay them very much. That being said, there's usually like $3 to $5 a day, maybe. It's hard work. But that being said, they have to pay for that. It comes over. It costs money to roast them and all that other stuff. So is it worth buying this? We will find out if it's worth buying this one. In general, is it worth spending $2 an ounce on coffee? Well, for beginners, no. Stick with whatever you're used to, Dunks or Honeydew or Black Rifle. If you don't care and you're a beginner, then it does not matter. If you're looking to branch out into more complex and more expensive ones, that's why these coffee reviews are so important. Let me be the one to waste the money and review these things to tell you whether or not it's worth getting into. Because if you're going to go from spending, what is coffee nowadays? Like you can get like $12 for 12 ounces at Walmart or whatever, and then you're going to double that. You know why? And if you don't like it, then you're stuck with the whole bag. This is what I am not quite getting paid to do, not quite yet, but hopefully sometime in the near future. Let us do it and tell you whether it's worth doing. So we're going to grind this up. Now, if you've seen my other episodes on Chiang Mai coffee, I actually did a plantation tour there, which is going to be coming up in the near future where I'll show that. And I did the coffee review from the coffee there. I love Chiang Mai coffee. Delicious. This is from a place called Chiang Rai, which is close to that area. So it's a different region coffee. That apparently is where Thailand Doi Pangkhon coffee comes from. So this is a light profile, natural process, which means they let just the beans dry out in the sun. So like I said, I was very surprised. The smell was super overpowering coming from over there. So let's get going. We're going to go ahead and fill this up. My Hamilton Flex Brew as usual. So again, be very careful. It might take a couple of times to get your dosage right on this. The combination of how much water to how much coffee you put in is a huge thing. It will totally change whether you like the coffee or not in some cases. Light roast coffees, I'd say you're safer with a little bit less water, like I've mentioned, and a decent amount of coffee. You really want those flavors to come out. So with this, sometimes they give you flavor notes like this here. It says sweet with notes of dried mango and papaya. I've mentioned this before, but I've really never, it's very rare that the flavor notes actually come through with me. And I have a rather high sensitive nose and taste buds and stuff like that. However, maybe not sensitive enough for this. Like wine drinking, those notes just don't appear for everybody. And it's funny because they use the word notes, and I kind of describe it like this, or thought about it like this actually just this morning. It's like a symphony where you're drinking a symphony of flavors all combined together. And if you're listening to an orchestra play, you don't always hear like the individual notes, you hear the overall music. But every once in a while, like maybe a certain note will just pop out and really hit you and it moves you, or you can just hear that really clear. I think it's like that with this coffee, with coffee in general. You know, you're drinking the coffee and it's like the symphony of flavors. Everything's very complex, complicated, and interwoven and woven. And then every once in a while you get a note. So I think and I feel that's the case with this with coffees in general, is those notes are not meant to be like, you're going to taste mangoes out the freaking wazoo. You're going to be like, every once in a while, you're going to pick up a note of mango, and maybe even not that. Maybe you'll get a sweet note here or whatever. With light coffees, it tends to be sour notes, and the tones tend to be like really strong sour notes. You get grapefruit. I've had that many times. And sometimes it overwhelms everything else. So it all just depends. We're going to let this brew and get back in just a second. It's very easy to forget what we're actually drinking. You know, these are literally cherry seeds. They're coffee cherry seeds. It's very easy to forget that. And it's such a weird thing when you think about it. Who's the first person that was like, oh, damn, let's take these really anemically fruity like the fruit has there's almost no fruit to it, cherries, and take the seeds, dry them out, grind them and roast them and grind them, and let's see if it makes a delicious beverage. Like you really wish you could go back in time and figure out who the first people that did this were and how they did it. I guess it's like a lot of things, but it's easy to forget that you're drinking cherry seeds, right? But that being said, it becomes more, you remember that more when you're drinking something like this and you taste something that's very light roasted and it's got that fruity profile to it. Then it's like, oh yeah, I kind of get it. In a lot of ways, in some ways anyway, the lighter the roast and the more fruity it tastes, it can actually be very akin to tea. One of the ones I'll be doing soon claims notes of hibiscus and stuff like that, and it actually kind of makes it sound like it's tea. So, and there are coffee blossom teas, so there is like this weird border between coffee and tea, caffeine and stuff like that as well. So I guess it makes sense, even though tea and coffee beans are completely different things. So yeah, I don't smell specific notes of mango. There is like a little bit of a sweetness coming off smell-wise. And also, as I mentioned, and I will mention on time and time again, actually, you got to look at that. You can get more flavor from a light roast if you let it cool down a little bit. Obviously, you don't want to drink it lukewarm, but give it a minute when it's done brewing, let it cool down. It brings the flavor profile out more. I found that out by mistake. Ooh, that's nice. Mmm, very sweet. It's like a creamy, hold on. Yeah. It's funny, I just did a review on something that's supposed to have like a strawberries and cream and grapefruit taste to it with root beer. Didn't. But this actually does have more of like a creamy taste to it. So when you're drinking this, let it sit on your tongue for a minute, and it's got a creaminess to it. Very interesting, because that's not even on there, as labeled on there. I like it. Guys, this is a really good coffee. And this is because of the region it comes from. I am prone to and a fan of Thailand's coffee from the hill regions as it is. So it turns out Chiang Mai and Chiang Rai are both very good coffee producers. The beans out there are just so good. This is my second run-in encounter with that region in these reviews, and I absolutely love it so far. I will say that there is that strong grapefruity taste as well, though. That comes along with light roast coffees. This is a very complex coffee. I really like it, guys. So this is your mission. If you're not from the area, I don't know, I'm assuming these people might ship. I actually went in, but get this coffee if you like light roast coffees. Very, very good. If you can't get into Aero Coffee Roasters and they don't ship, you're looking for Thailand Doi Pangkhon, which I'll obviously put in the description. Make sure you do a light profile natural roast. That's what this one is. Definitely recommend it, guys. Very, very good. Unique flavoring. It definitely is something that I would drink on the daily if it wasn't for the cost. All that being said, I'm Drake. You're watching That Big Bearded American Tourist Coffee Break with Drake. I have a lot more stuff coming up, and I hope you enjoy. Again, not only do I have these coffee reviews, but I have those coffee tours coming up in the near future. As soon as I can get to video editing, they'll be up there. Thanks for watching.